In Washington, it's been a very busy day here in Washington. Thank you so much for joining us. First off, a suspect has now been arrested in the leak of classified Pentagon documents that were posted on several social media sites. Here's the suspect. His name is Jack Teixeira, being detained outside his Massachusetts home. He is 21 years old. He's a member of the 102nd Intelligence Wing of the Massachusetts Air National Guard. For more on how they zeroed in on him, let's bring in CBS News intelligence and national security reporter Olivia Gazis and CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang, who is joining us from Dublin, Ireland, where she's traveling with the president. Olivia, let's start with you. How did intelligence officials and the FBI track down this particular suspect?
Well, it happened rather quickly, a matter of days, once these documents moved into more public mainstream outlets from that small private server where they first appear to have been posted. Because what we're learning, based on accounts that were given to the Washington Post and other outlets by somebody who claims to know Jack Teixeira and to have been a member of this small Discord channel where they were first posted, he was doing this possibly as far back as October, and he was doing it in documents by the hundreds. At first, it sounds as though he may have been transcribing classified materials before then saying, that's too time-consuming, I'm going to upload digital images of these classified documents. But it wasn't because, according to the accounts of this person who knows him, he had a workplace gripe or he had some sort of opposition to the war in Ukraine. He was effectively a 21-year-old showing off to a peer group.
Look what I know. Look what I have access to.
That's what it looks like. We haven't heard from him directly about his motivation, but that's what it looks like according to the accounts of people who know him. It took one of these users to move these materials to a more public-facing server for Russian Telegram to notice, for the mainstream media to notice, and then for federal investigators to notice. And from there, they followed a very clear digital trail right back to Jack Teixeira, allegedly, because he was one of a very limited pool of suspects who had access to this highly classified information.
This 21-year-old allegedly had a pretty big impact. I mean, this caused shockwaves in Russia, in Ukraine, with some of our Asian allies. And the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, weighed in on the arrest today. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
FBI agents took Teixeira into custody earlier this afternoon without incident. He will have an initial appearance at the U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts. I want to thank the FBI, Justice Department prosecutors, and our colleagues at the Department of Defense for their diligent work on this case.
Olivia, what kinds of charges could he now be facing? And how did he have access to so much classified information in the first place if he really is a low-level 21-year-old member of the National Guard?
That was the immediate question for a lot of people, right, is what is a 21-year-old airman doing with access to some of the most coveted and highly protected sensitive information that this country has? Because, yes, we learned from the Pentagon that his role was a cyber transport systems journeyman, somebody who was responsible for laying fiber optic cables, for example, in military bases to connect computer networks. So, again, what is somebody in that kind of role doing with that kind of access to what appear to be briefing books for the chairman of the Joint Chiefs? It's not entirely clear yet. It's not entirely clear whether he was, in fact, authorized to view those documents or whether he was skirting guidelines, breaking rules in order to access them. You did hear the Pentagon today call it a deliberate criminal act, and you did hear them say that they are taking a really hard look at their distribution lists, at their rules for who can access highly classified materials. And you also heard them say that, hey, when you join the military and when you apply for a security clearance, you are expected to abide by these rules no matter what age you are.
The question of who was behind this leak has really consumed Washington for days. Weijia, you are in Ireland, but the president, who is traveling there right now, was asked about the case there. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Mr. President, could you give an update on that leak investigation, the leaked documents from DOD?
I can't right now. There is a full-blown investigation going on, as you know, with the intelligence community and the Justice Department, and they're getting close. I don't have an answer.
How concerned are you about this leak?
Are you concerned about our relationship?
Are you concerned about the leak?
Okay, guys, it's time to go. Let's go. Cool, we got to move.
I'm not concerned about the leakages, and I'm concerned that it happened. But there's nothing contemporaneous that I'm aware of that is of great consequence.
So, Weijia, it's interesting that he kind of downplayed the leak right there when talking to reporters. What else did he have to say? What else does the White House have to say now that a suspect has been detained?
So when President Biden made those remarks early today, he also indicated that an arrest might be imminent because he said that they were zeroing in and getting closer. And then, as you pointed out, Nancy, he really said that he did not believe that the documents contained anything of great consequence, which of course we'll have to wait to see, what else we learn about exactly what was in those. But I think what's important here to think about is the broader implications, because here he is on a foreign trip celebrating the friendship between the U.S. and Ireland, an important ally. And now those allies are wondering whether they can trust the U.S. with sensitive information, because reportedly these documents included private assessments of various nations and their thoughts on the war in Ukraine, on how soon the country may be able to end it, if at all. These are big questions for the White House. And today, the White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, said that this did not come up when the president met with the Prime Minister of the UK yesterday. Now, what we don't know is whether he talked about it during his day of meetings here in Ireland with the president or the Prime Minister, but certainly, this is going to come up, especially the more that we learn about these documents. But I think the White House is trying to downplay it. The White House has said that they're not sure whether all of these documents were even legitimate, that some may be fabricated. So there are outstanding questions, Nancy, but certainly on the face of it, a lot of concerns, too.
A lot of concern, especially because of the sheer volume of intelligence material that we're talking about here. Olivia Gazis here in Washington, Weijia Jiang in Dublin. Thank you both so much.